Welcome, true crime lovers. This is Underage and Full of Rage. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Underage and Full of Rage, the podcast where the convicted are minors and their crimes are anything but. I am your host, Becky, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Adam.
Hello.
Why are you already laughing?
I heard the ball make like a fart sound
Oh.
because I'm a child.
I was just going to say child. Truly. So today our story takes place in Spalding, Lincolnshire, which is in
Spalding.
England. Yes, honestly, every time I've done that, I went Spalding, and then I'm like, we're not going to be able to get through the first sentence. Clearly, that was true. So, according to the Visit Lincolnshire website, Spalding is a market town with Dutch-influenced buildings and a vast array of tulips in the spring. Spalding is famous for their tulips and holds an annual festival that attracts people from all over. They have a designer outlet center that holds over 50 stores, an adventure land for the kiddos, and has what they call a festival gardens, which kind of just looks like our version of a botanical garden where there's like, like
Just like flowers and stuff.
yeah, and like the walkway and shit, like where we went to in Spokane.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it kind of looks like. There's also plenty of places to stay if you're not from the area, as well as a variety of places to dine. So it's like, like kind of touristy, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
And as of 2021, there was a little over 30,500 people living there. And I think I would definitely add this to a list of places I would like to visit one day. It looks pretty awesome. So, yeah.
Dope.
Yeah, like it looks pretty nice. I mean, I don't know what's going on now. It could be
Riddled with fentanyl.
yeah, who knows these days. I feel like the entire world is that. So, but I'd like to think it stayed intact.
Positive
So,
thinking.
well, I mean, look at Spokane now. When it was beautiful when we were there,
Yeah.
and now it's I don't know, it's questionable. So, in 2016, 49-year-old Elizabeth Edwards is living in Spalding with her two daughters, Kim, who's 14, and Katie, who is 13. She also has another daughter, Mary, who is older and lives in lives in Derby with her husband and kids. So obviously she's not at home. Things at the Edwards household was not ideal, mainly between Kim and her mom. According to Kim, her father abandoned them when she was really young, and I'm not sure how true this next part is, but Kim did claim that Elizabeth would tell her that she was going to end up just like him, which obviously is upsetting to her.
Yeah.
But again, I am not sure if there is any truth to this statement, but this is just what she had said happened. So clearly their relationship was rough to say the least, and Kim would often threaten to run away from home, and she also threatened to falsely report to like social workers that her mom tried to choke her. I think she even actually did falsely report a time or two.
So fucked up.
Yeah, so at some point Elizabeth did go into her daughter's room or went into Kim's room and found a suicide note. And I am not sure how old Kim was at the time, considering, she's 14 at the time our story takes place, and this happened before then. So I'm not sure when she found the suicide note. But as a result, Elizabeth did set up an emergency psychiatric assessment, and no signs of mental illness were detected at that time. I do think Kim had a lot of teenage angst fueling her behavior, but considering some of her other behavior, it is very possible that there was an underlying mental health issue happening. You will definitely see that. Well, like there's more on this
There's
later.
more
You'll
to it.
definitely see what I'm talking about. But unfortunately, again, at the time, she was too young to be given any formal diagnoses. So, the concerning behavior that was seen was something that just needed to be monitored for the time being. That's just, how it is.
Yeah.
With certain diagnoses, you can't
do anything.
Yeah. So Elizabeth and Kim's relationship only worsened when Kim started dating 14-year-old Lucas Markham. The two of them began fighting much more frequently. Lucas met Kim at school and said when he met her, he finally felt needed and wanted. Lucas lived down the street from the Edwards with his aunt. His siblings and him moved in with her when he was around 4 or 5, and it was also around the same time when his mom had passed away from cancer. which is just awful.
That's horrible.
It was reported that his dad unfortunately was an alcoholic and wasn't fit to, provide a stable home for the kids, hence the move into their aunt's house, which is just like, I feel like a double whammy of suck.
Yeah,
when,
you lose. You basically lose both of them.
yeah, in an instant.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just terrible. It was suggested that these life altering changes at such a young age caused Lucas to develop an insecurity with attachment, because they probably contributed to him feeling, like a distrust amongst those around him to successfully be able to meet his needs. This distrust also caused him to be in conflict with his fear of abandonment while simultaneously having a strong need for nurturance. So you're like in that constant, like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a constant state of back and forth with your emotions of attachment to people, if that
Yeah,
makes sense to you.
I think so.
You look very confused. Your
I am a
eyebrows
little bit.
are so furrowed
I
right
am a
now.
little bit.
I'm getting too much into my schooling knowledge. um so the change in living situation and caretakers also contributed to Lucas's inability to be able to regulate his emotions properly. This inability would show itself in outbursts where he would punch and headbutt the walls and doors in his family's home, sometimes so severe it caused actual damage. It was also reported that he did have a history of self harm and that his younger brother's behavior was actually a major concern as well for the aunt. And even though Lucas displayed some behavioral issues, his brother was, in some senses, worse. So the two would get into physical altercations that were not necessarily Lucas's doing. This behavior to me sounds like just two kids whose first memories of family life was unstable and most likely chaotic, that even though they were out of that environment, their undesired behaviors, continue to
They
reflect
kept
this
going.
instability. Yeah, so and now if you think of all that and add in teenage hormones,
Yeah, it's a pot of shit.
yeah, it's like ticking time bomb is probably the perfect description for this kid.
Yeah,
It's just,
sad but true.
yeah, just all around awful, you know? So, according to those around Kim and Lucas, their relationship was very intense. And with Lucas's abandonment, his issues as well as Kim's probably having some herself since her father abandoned her family, it's no surprise that these two clung so hard to one another. It honestly sounded like they have developed like an us versus, or like us against the world mentality, I guess you could say.
Kind of makes sense.
Like, just what is it, like, is it like Bonnie and Clyde or Natural Born Killers, like those people,
Yeah,
right? Like, it's you and me, baby.
yeah.
Like something like that. Like that's what I kind of
Fucking
think.
Thelma and Louise, like hands off the
Yeah.
cliff and shit.
Yeah, like we're in this to the end. Like that's just the vibe I got from it. The two were also apparently obsessed with suicide and talked about it often, which is very concerning, I think, especially
Yeah,
at the age of 14. They bonded over that and the fact that they both hated their home life. We have already discussed Lucas's, but I wanted to go a little further into Kim's and her unhappiness at home. So, besides the constant arguing with her mom, she also had anger towards her younger sister, Katie. Now, reminder, Katie is only 13 at this time. So, according to Kim, her relationship with her mom was tough because Kim constantly felt left out and believed, her mom liked her sister more than her and often felt pushed to the side. Her anger eventually turned to resentment of the two. And now, having Lucas in the picture, Kim finally had someone on her side. And since Lucas had a very strong desire to protect Kim at all costs, he soon took on her anger and resentment for Kim's mom and sister as well. Again, like ticking time bomb.
not good.
No. So, Kim's older sister, Mary, said that she had her doubts about the relationship due to its intensity and that she wasn't a fan of Lucas's from the moment she met him. There was something about him that just screamed trouble to her. And she, too, felt the relationship in itself was a ticking time bomb. So, when she, tried to bring this up or bring these concerns up, Kim obviously rebuffed. And of course, anything anyone had to say about Lucas and her was just not going to get through. I mean, it's not,
Teenagers,
yeah, it's not surprising. You're 14.
you know better.
I feel like
Like at that age, you think you know better.
Well, yeah, like, and also I feel like at that age, it's like I feel like between the ages of like 14 and maybe 16, 17, you just like your love, like that's it, like that's your world,
Yeah.
and it's very, very hard to see past that. Even if it is like bad or tumultuous, it's like I don't. It's you just
It's
that's it.
just yeah.
It's so much more intense at that age. Like it's
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 crazy.
terrifying to have. I think for like to have a kid be like that at that age, but at the same time, I feel like knowing what I know now, and what I've seen from friends, I would much rather have my child experience it at 14 and get over it than be stuck in a cycle at like 35.
Yeah. Because that's not good for anyone.
No. So, but it is one of those things where it's probably one of like the worst things of the teenage years that you do have to deal with because it just makes everything 10 times
Everything's
worse. Like they're
yeah.
already angry.
The sky's falling.
And then they have a shitty boyfriend on top of that. Like that's it.
Yeah.
It's a wrap.
It's the end of the world.
In the words of Claire Dunphy, you got to wait for them to come back around the dark side. Like they'll eventually come back around. You just got to be patient. So if Mary had issues with their relationship, clearly so did Kim's mom, Elizabeth. Mary spoke about how her mom would, confide in her about her concerns with Kim and how she had become withdrawn from friends and family. And then in March of 2016, Kim had taken a bunch of pain pills in an attempt to commit suicide, and she had to be hospitalized after this. So shortly after being discharged, she ends up running away with Lucas, and the two were found almost like a week later in a neighboring town shacking up in a tent.
Wow.
Yeah. Again, these kids are only 14. Just like when I was 14, I thought I was so much older because normally when you're 14, you do
You think you're older?
yeah, like, but now when you look
Looking
back, 14's so young.
You're a child.
So young. So freaking young. So it's it's pretty interesting their ages and to just see like
How this turns out.
how they operate and function and like what their thought process is. It's pretty interesting and frightening. So after this, Elizabeth put the family into counseling, and according to Mary, things were getting better and the family was in a good place. Only the improvement in the family's dynamic didn't last long, as Lucas's presence was a constant disruption in the family's peace. So by the time April rolled around, the two 14-year-olds were entrenched with each other and only growing more and more obsessed with one another. Elizabeth was trying to do everything she could to break them up, and even went as far as reaching out to the school to ensure that the two were spending as little time as possible together. Lucas's family was also trying to their best to to get a hold of the situation, and the final straw was when Kim and Lucas barricaded themselves in Lucas's room one weekend. At some point, they end up crawling out his window to run down to Kim's house, like just to grab her contraceptive. And upon their return to Lucas's room, they basically go in, and it turns out that in that time, his family had cleaned out his room, and they proceed to tackle and restrain him.
Jesus.
They then promptly returned Kim to her house, where she had discovered all of her stuff had been cleaned out as well. So this was the final straw for the couple, and this incident ignited in them a solution that would allow them to be pretty much together without issue.
Idiots.
The solution, of course, was to get rid of Kim's mom and sister. After all, they were, the problem that needed to be dealt with, and thus the planning began. The two decided that Lucas needed to be, incognito on the designated night, so simply walking down the street to Kim's wouldn't work because anyone could see him. Instead, he would walk from his house along a track that would lead him to the back of her home, taking him about 30 minutes to get there. Once there, he just had to scale a fence and climb a single-story extension to reach her bedroom window. He would then tap on her window, at which time she would then go open the bathroom window so he could gain access to the home. Lucas would also bring a pair of clothes to change into and supply the weapons to commit this unspeakable act. The weapon of choice was a selection of knives he would take from his aunt's house. So, Monday night hits and the plan is underway. Lucas packs some knives and a change of clothes and sets out along the track. And after walking for a half an hour, he finds himself at the back of the Edwards home. He scales the fence, makes his way up to the second floor, and taps on Kim's window and waits. And continues to wait. And when Kim doesn't show, he climbs down the side of the house, hops back over the fence, and goes home. The next day, he meets up with Kim after school, and, he's like basically discussing what happened. And it turned out Kim had fallen asleep. So while she was waiting, she dozed off.
Passed out.
Yeah, she ended up dozing off. So they decide that they will pick up where they left off and, go from there that night. Like, we're doing it tonight then. So once again, Lucas takes the designated path to Kim's house, and when he taps on the window, nothing. She is a no-show because, again, she had fallen asleep.
It's amazing.
So now it is Wednesday, April 13th, and Lucas and Kim meet up again and go over the plan one more time and confirm that this is, in fact, what they both still want. Once again, Lucas packs his bag and heads out. This time, when he taps on Kim's window, she is up and ready. She goes to the bathroom window and opens it for him, even clearing off the windowsill so he can make an easy and quiet entrance. Once in the bathroom, Lucas starts unpacking his bag so he can retrieve the knives he had wrapped in his change of clothes. The original plan was that Lucas would kill Elizabeth while Kim killed Katie. But when Kim was handling the knives to select the one she wanted to use, she changed her mind and told Lucas that she couldn't go through with it. Only she meant that she herself couldn't kill her little sister, but had no issue with Lucas doing it for her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
So then it was decided right then and there that Lucas would just kill both of them while Kim waited in the bathroom until he was done. How nice.
Horrible people.
Yeah, it's like I can't help but like smirk and laugh because it's just so uncomfortable.
It is. It's very... Oh, my God.
It's so uncomfortable. Like, what is wrong with you? It's so uncomfortable. So they decided that Elizabeth and Katie should be stabbed in the throat first, so it would prevent them from screaming. Lucas first went into Elizabeth's room, and as she slept, he proceeded to stab her. Kim can hear her mom struggling with him, so she leaves the bathroom to check on Lucas, and when she peeks in, she sees blood on the walls, bed, and floor, and Lucas with a pillow over her mom's face. After holding the pillow over her for some time, she eventually just stopped moving, and Lucas said she was dead. Kim then returned to the bathroom as Lucas went into Katie's room, which also happened to be the same bedroom as Kim. So they shared her bedroom.
Oh.
And when he went in, Katie was laying with her head facing away from him. He then stabbed her and immediately grabbed a pillow to smother her, just as he did Elizabeth. Now, what follows is some of the oddest behavior, especially when you consider that these two are only 14 years old. The two then decide to, take a bath together because Lucas is obviously covered in blood. Then he changes his clothes, and then they go back into Katie and Kim's room so they can grab Kim's mattress and move it downstairs. They then proceeded to spend the next 36 hours hanging out downstairs, having sex, eating junk food, and watching movies.
Wow. I don't even know what to say to that.
Oh, and this is the best part. They did go back upstairs at times, but it was only to use the bathroom as needed.
Wow. You are horrible.
Is that not disturbing?
That is horrible.
And it gets more disturbing. So on April 14th, the following day, Lucas's aunt reported him missing, and both Kim and Lucas had been reported as missing from school that day. So Lucas's aunt ended up going over to Kim's, but no one answered. And then later on, the police went by the home where they too were met with no answer. So Lucas and Kim were inside, and they did hear the knocks, but they ignored them both times. Then,
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, obviously. Then on April 15th, police returned to the house, but again, no response. However, this time the cops said that they could hear a dog barking, so they decided to contact Elizabeth's work and Kim's school to see when the last time anyone had any contact with the family. And it turned out that the last time anybody had seen, spoken to, whatever, was actually April 13th. So then around 12 p.m., the police end up going back to the Edwards home, and this time they forced their way in through a front window that led into the living room. And once inside, they like look over basically and see Kim and Lucas just laying there on the mattress, completely unfazed by the whole situation.
What is wrong with you?
And
Right?
yeah, like completely. This is what I'm saying. Like it just keeps getting more disturbing because again, they are 14 years old,
Like, that is just astonishing.
completely unfazed. One of the cops asked Kim where her mom was, and she just nonchalantly responds, upstairs. Then she is asked what happened, at which time Lucas then responds casually as fuck, why don't you go and see?
Wow.
Like, just the only word I could
What
think of
the
is
fuck?
disturbed. Disturbed.
Yeah. I feel like it's beyond that, though.
So disturbed. So the cops go upstairs and find the bodies of Elizabeth and Katie and immediately arrest both Lucas and Kim. While being taken out, Kim pointed out a box that had medication in it and said, quote, we were going to take them, end quote. And Lucas just said, fuck life. So
I'll take that as a yes.
Elizabeth's partner had come by the house as they were taking Kim and Lucas away, and clearly devastated, he called Mary to inform her of what was going on. And this is so unfortunate because Mary was the one that she had to identify her mom and youngest
Yeah.
sister, and she had said that the entire time she just kept telling herself that she would get there and it wouldn't be them. But when
Oh,
she
God, that's got to be soul crushing.
Yeah, because she said when she saw them, that's when that's when it really started
Kicked
to
in.
sink in that not only were they, dead, but her sister is the one that murdered them, which is just so fucked to think about.
That's such a mind fuck.
Like honestly, coming from a large family with like multiple siblings, I could not imagine what that must feel like to have a sibling kill not only
Murder
your
parents,
but your other siblings.
and your sibling.
Like, because that, in a sense, she lost her family in one shot too.
Yeah.
Like crazy. Just I couldn't fathom that. So from the start, Kim refused to plead guilty to murder and said she would only agree to plead guilty to manslaughter. But the Crown
I
refused to
don't think
accept
that's how
this.
that works.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing too. Like you're 14, the ball's on you, right?
Yeah.
To have that much confidence.
Like, not manslaughter. Do you know what manslaughter is?
But like, how are you this cocky?
Yeah.
Like I refuse. I will not plead guilty to
I'm
murder.
not guilty for murder.
Like-
Manslaughter, maybe.
Like I'll give you manslaughter, but not murder. Like that again is so twisted because like just the age alone just blows my
Yeah,
mind.
That you even think that.
Ugh. So while being interviewed, both Kim and Lucas were very matter of fact and frighteningly casual about the whole entire incident. It's pretty insane to hear them talk about it. So when Kim is going over everything, she essentially explains it in a way that justifies her reasoning for them to die. I'll give you some examples. She told police that she was happy he killed them because now her mom didn't have to deal with her being suicidal and no longer had to worry every morning if Kim was alive, and that her sister didn't have to go through the heartbreak and emotions and stuff. Like as if it was some huge favor.
That's nice of her.
Right?
Her heart's in the right place, clearly.
Right? Like huge favor to
What
them.
an asshole.
Yeah. That's what it's so warped. She then went on to tell a psychiatrist that she wanted revenge for the way her mom treated her and that she didn't feel anything for her and that she deserved it and that she was glad she was dead. Kim also shared how she was excited about killing her mom and that she was actually looking forward to it. So,
Wow.
Yeah. She feels totally justified in the decision.
That is astonishing. Wow. Horrible.
So neither of them showed any remorse for what they had done. Shocking, right? Kim was definitely more of the talker of the two. So during her first two interviews with detectives, she said that they both felt laid back about what happened and that neither of them had felt bad about it. She admitted to be, that admitted to being fully aware that Lucas was going to kill them, and even told them how she was originally supposed to kill Katie, but when the time came, she didn't have the mental strength to do so. So Lucas said he would take care of it.
What the fuck? What kind of
Yeah.
a world is this?
Yeah. So Kim was asked how she felt immediately after Lucas had killed them, and she calmly responded that she was okay with it because the fact that it happened so quickly gave her peace of mind because, quote, it wasn't like they were tortured or anything, end quote. I feel like
You're a sick person.
everything that comes out of this girl's mouth is just
The
like
lawyer needs to
jaw
be like,
dropping.
yo, just don't talk anymore. Just sit here and just don't talk anymore.
It's jaw dropping too because like the demeanor. I think the demeanor makes it so much worse. It's just so casual.
It's casual and cold.
Yeah, like, okay, yeah, Again, like it was like a favor to them. Well, they weren't tortured, so I don't know what you're all complaining about.
Yeah, like
What's the big deal?
what's the problem?
Okay, I can't. Eventually, Kim started to show a tiny, and I mean the tiniest morsel, if you could even consider it. It really probably isn't even considered remorse, but out of everything she said, this was like the one thing that you could maybe say, oh, maybe a little
You
bit.
want to give her the benefit of the doubt, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. Like out of everything, you could see how this could kind of maybe get categorized. And it was only though for Katie. And it was only to the effect of saying how she believed it would be better for Katie to die too, and that she wasn't killing her out of anger, and that she did miss her. And
What?
she also said that Katie was an angel and that she was a train wreck. Like her as in Kim, like she said, like I'm a train wreck. She was an
Yeah.
angel, and how she did feel bad about Katie because she was young and didn't deserve to die. So see, that's where the tiny
bit, yeah.
Very
Very
tiny. It kind of gets though negated because then at the same time she states that she was angry and resentful towards her. So at the time she did technically want her to die.
That's horrible.
Justifying it again. So how remorseful can you really be?
Really can't be if you're justifying it.
Yeah. So that's where it's like you could kind of count it as remorse, but then it's like, but is it really? No,
If
not
you complete
really.
the thought, it's actually not.
Yeah. I feel like it's one of those that it could have been something like, well, I have to show remorse, so I'll say this.
Oh, yeah.
But then since she's so immature, she doesn't realize that the follow-up to that negates the remorse factor.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel bad. It's not like they were tortured. I feel bad. It's not. Yeah.
She didn't deserve to die. But at the time, I mean, I was angry with her, so I didn't mind that she died. You know? It's one of those.
It's not justifying it, but
like,
it's not like, it's not saying it's wrong at the same time. I can't remember how you put it.
Like a backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
Like when people do backhanded compliments, it's like kind of like backhanded remorse in a sense. But I think it's because she's probably so immature that she thinks she's supposed to say something like that. But then the true feelings come out after because she's 14.
Yeah.
And obviously she didn't really feel bad.
I mean, it doesn't sound like she actually felt bad.
No, it doesn't. So Lucas, on the other hand, didn't comment during either of his first two interviews, and it wasn't.
Smart.
Yeah, and it wasn't until the morning of the trial that he, decided to provide a written statement where he confessed to killing both Elizabeth and Katie. Sorry. So he expressed that after Kim's suicide attempt, his concerns for her had escalated. It was Lucas that first brought up the idea about killing Elizabeth and Katie. He had told investigators that he said he wished he could kill them, and she said, yeah, but thought he was joking. He said he wasn't, and when she realized he wasn't joking, that, he was actually serious about the statement, it kind of turned things around, and then she started to become serious about the thought as well. So he basically planted the seed. He went on to describe how he, first went into Elizabeth's room and stabbed her in the neck while she was asleep. Then he took a pillow and smothered her face with it. But according to her autopsy, he actually stabbed Elizabeth 8 times. twice in the neck, causing serious injuries to her jugular and almost
Oh,
completely severed her windpipe. One stab wound was to her shoulder, and the rest were defensive wounds to her hands, meaning she clearly woke up and clearly fought for her life. He then told them how she went limp and stopped struggling, so he got off the bed, took off his sneakers because they made the floor squeak. He then picked up the knife, at which point Kim had come in the room and asked him if it was done, and he said yes. According to him, she then asked him if her mom struggled, to which he replied yes, and then she went back into the bathroom while he went into Katie's room. He admitted that when he went into her room, that Katie's room, she was laying on her back with her head facing away from him. So he tried to stab her in the neck, but when he stabbed her, he wasn't sure if he got her or the mattress. So he just grabbed a pillow and smothered her as well. Um, this is another account that he gave that isn't entirely true, kind of like what he said with Elizabeth. I feel like he kind of like glossed over the details with Elizabeth and Katie because obviously their autopsy tells the truth.
yeah.
So what we do know, according to her autopsy, is he definitely stabbed her more than once. Katie had been stabbed twice in her neck, and one hit the right vertical artery, causing moderate bleeding, but it wasn't severe enough to compromise her blood flow to be, considered the sole cause of death. It was determined that her wounds, in combination with the smothering, is what led to Katie's death. So if he had
Oh,
just
so she likes. Oh, that's.
yeah, so if he would have just stabbed her and like left thinking that she was dead, she probably could have survived. I'm thinking. Like I'm thinking if she could have like if it was
Called
on
911 or
or
whatever.
like hopped out the window and went to a neighbor's, like I feel like there was a more of a chance. Nothing said this is just my opinion.
Yeah.
But what I got from that was like there it was if they had just turned around and left her, like
But
there is more of an chance that she potentially could have escaped and survived, which is I feel like
insane.
just sadder. Um, she also had an injury to her vertebrae, which suggested that Lucas used severe force during the attack. And according to him, she never woke up, but he did remember seeing her arms twitch. So I don't know how true that is, though, because I feel like if you get stabbed twice in your neck and it's not enough to like just kill you, you're probably waking up, right?
I don't know. It depends on how much blood you end up losing.
But like, is she not struggling when he's smothered? I find it weird that if it wasn't enough like to cause serious damage, so she couldn't be bleeding out that fast.
I don't know
Like
then.
you would think that she probably did struggle as well while he was trying to smother her. I just couldn't
Oh,
see her
it's
not
terrible.
struggling.
That's so terrible. Yeah, I couldn't see that either, though.
So he stated that during the murders, he had a calmness because he felt he was protecting Kim. And when asked if he was happy they were dead, he said yes and no and told them that he didn't enjoy anything about death, but he and Kim wanted to murder them and he understood what he did. So the police then inquired why they felt it was necessary to kill Katie too, since the mom obviously was the main issue. And his reasoning for killing Katie did differ from Kim's. He stated that they had to kill Katie, otherwise, she would have called the cops, which is even more fucked up.
What the fuck is wrong with you people?
I think it's crazy though that Kim's perception is I gives this whole sob story about they had a closer relationship, they left me out, they did this to me, blah 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 blah, and he's just like she was gonna call the cops, so he had to kill her. So and clearly you guys had
You were
premeditated this
in
and
cahoots, and yet
discussed
you still
this.
don't have a story that jives.
Yeah,
That
so
that's interesting.
it makes me
That's kind of
think
odd.
like that in that case, it makes me think he's more truthful
Yeah,
and she's putting on the show.
she's a victim.
Exactly. She is the victim in all of this. Is the way she presents it. Like this had to be done. I had no other choice. And where he was just like she was going to call the cops. So it's just mind blowing. So there are some differences, like I said, in their accounts of what took place, but for the most part, the plotting and execution of the plan did align, and it was very clear that Lucas murdered Elizabeth and Katie that night while Kim stood back, let it happen, and worst of all, was in complete support of it. The lack of remorse and nonchalant attitudes about everything was so shocking to everyone on the case that even the most seasoned detectives couldn't believe they were getting this response from two fucking 14-year-olds. Considering their actions and the fact that they were both showing no remorse for what they had done, obviously psych evaluations were ordered to be given to both.
Boy, I don't see anything wrong with that.
They're like, definitely got to have screws
They
loose, right?
have to be totally normal.
So Lucas was given his on August 15th, and it was found that he wasn't suffering from a severe mental illness at the time, but there was the potential he may have a personality disorder, but due to his age, he couldn't be diagnosed. So I'm sure, I don't know, I know this, I don't know how many of the, vast majority of people know this, but personality disorders aren't allowed to be given to anyone under the age of 18. So if there are signs of one, it is recommended that the parent/guardian monitor it. And then usually if signs persist, an evaluation is given again once the child turns 18 just to see if they meet the criteria. So like you can't diagnose a 5-year-old with antisocial behavior. You just can't do it.
It's a fucking child developing.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
So they obviously, So during Kim's evaluation, which took place on August 26th and October 5th, she had 2. It was determined that at the time of the offense, she had developed an adjustment disorder due to multiple stressors that were aggravated by her relationship with Lucas. The final stressor that they claimed was when she returned home that day to her room being cleared out. And according to her evaluation, in that moment, the adjustment disorder had significantly impaired her ability to exercise any self-control, and she lacked any form of rational judgment. However, in between these two evaluations, the Crown, of course, had their own people conduct one, and what they found was that Kim was not suffering from any abnormal, mental functioning.
She's just a bitch.
And therefore, basically she was fine, and therefore using it as a defense to diminish her responsibility, and this was completely unacceptable. But this is what courts do. You have your specialist, I have my experts.
It's amazing they're experts, and yet they say things that are exact opposites.
Yeah, whatever helps whose ever narration, that's what they're going to do. So who really knows? That's why I said earlier, I think she had a lot of teenage angst. However, the coldness and the weird behavior after all of this makes me think maybe there is something.
That's a little concerning.
Yeah. Like, I think everybody can at least agree on that. There's definitely something off with this chick.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So Kim saw her mom as a problem in her life, and she was excited about killing her and was glad she was dead. Kim said so herself. So the lasting, excitement, according to specialists, contradicted the notion that her stuff being removed from her room was the final stressor that kicked off her adjustment disorder. Because if this was the case, she wouldn't still be feeling the excitement from the incident, which she clearly was while being interviewed.
Yeah.
So Kim not regretting anything that happened, but rather showing relief that it had occurred, demonstrated that in her mind, she felt she was being emotionally abused by her mom, and therefore she didn't have remorse because her actions that night were completely justified.
Psychotic.
Yeah.
So twisted.
Basically, in her mind, they wronged her, so she did what she had to do to get them back,
So twisted.
And this shows a person who is in control of what they did and understands right from wrong, which obviously is not deemed insane or anything like that, or any type of anything. So
it's actually rational thinking.
Yeah. So at one point, she even mentioned the possibility of writing a book one day about her life, which clearly showed that, she definitely has an inflated sense of self, which is very concerning as well. These are all just like check marks that when after she's turns 18, that they would go back for a personality disorder. Things like this fall under the criteria for certain personality disorders. So these are the red flags that you look for in children that you monitor, and as they get older, and then you reevaluate. And if they're all still persistent and exist,
then you gotta.
Then it's like, okay, now there's something here. So after the two were arrested, Kim broke things off with Lucas, stating she no longer had feelings for him and that she realized he was very controlling. She also said she felt nothing for his situation because he wasn't forced into anything and that it was his choice. Essentially saying that he is in this situation because of his own doing. How fucking cold are you?
Wow. It is astonishing.
So malicious. She pretty much gets what she wants and then tosses him away like he doesn't serve a purpose anymore.
Got what I needed. Peace.
Like it
Evil.
yeah, it's ugh. It really is shocking. Like I constantly had to keep being like, and you're 14. Like it just I don't know. I think I've said it 1,000 times already. Like you could make a drinking game out of this episode. Mind blown. Total mind blown.
14.
So when it came to sentencing, there were nine aggravating factors and some mitigating ones that they were taken into consideration. Obviously, the aggregating. Oh my God, why can't I speak? The aggravating factors included the fact that it was a double murder with one of the victims being a young girl. The next one was their clear intention to kill, in addition to the premeditation and planning that went into the crime. The gross and unnatural betrayal to commit matricide and sororicide, and the fact that Lucas played a part. Other factors that were considered were the vulnerability of victims, the fact that they were sleeping, as well as the brutal form of killing and knowing how Elizabeth had suffered in her final moments, the weapon of choice being a knife, the grotesque conduct that took place the following 36 hours, and finally, the fact that both of them expressed nothing but happiness about what they had done.
Because they're nuts.
Yeah. So, as for the mitigating factors that were considered, the court stated that even though there was a serious lack of remorse, it still was relatively too early to judge them on this, which I found odd. Because I feel like they were crucified for the lack of remorse, but then you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
but we should really take it into consideration now. What?
No. That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. I don't think it does at all because I feel like if you were if you're remorseful, you're just remorseful. Like you don't, I don't know. Would you? Or actually, no, I can't. Never mind. Because now I'm thinking about people who do things and are fun. Like feel justified in their actions, and then after 10 years in prison, they're like, "I fucked up. I see the light now. I am remorseful." So you know what? Never mind. I
No.
take all that back. I never thought of it until
No.
just this
I
moment.
didn't think about it like that. Yeah.
Like remorse is something that could easily come later, like once they calm down or once they
Yeah.
mature a little more. Remorse is something that could come.
It's a good call. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, I didn't think of that either until literally just this moment. Live. No kidding.
Mm.
So their age also needed to be taken into consideration, considering the fact that both defendants had demonstrated relatively good characters up until that point, and that they both had a willingness to take responsibility for their part, which, I mean, I feel like she just put it out there from the second they were caught, whereas he kind of didn't take responsibility because he didn't speak until like the third interview, which he didn't even really speak. He just
Yeah.
wrote a statement.
Yeah.
So I feel like she
She
immediately was
was the
like,
jabber
"Yeah,
jaw.
this happened."
Because she
So,
felt justified.
but I guess eventually he did take responsibility. So I guess they're throwing that to him. Their troubled upbringings and the fact that, they are both still developing, in addition to the actual relationship itself and the negative effects it had on both of them, were all considered as well. I think that's a huge, huge factor that definitely needed to be considered. So I'm obviously not mad about that one. But Kim also, her psychiatric problems and her emotional turmoil were considered in her mitigating factors. He didn't get any because it was found that he didn't have any, but she definitely did have some stuff come up in her evaluation. So that
Yeah.
factored into hers. Like she got those, he didn't. Okay, so they were found guilty, making them the youngest double murderers in the UK. Originally, Kim and Lucas received a 5% guilty plea discount, which is something I never heard of it.
The fuck is that?
Yeah, I had to look into it. So it's something that they offer defendants in the UK, and essentially it's just a reduction in their sentencing if they plead guilty to their crimes. So the purpose is obviously to encourage suspects to admit to their crimes as soon as possible within the procedure.
So it's basically like a part of a plea deal.
Yeah, so like the earlier you admit your guilt, the higher the reduction is in the sentencing offered, and the longer a defendant waits,
The
yeah,
less that'll get gotcha.
yeah, or even if it's even offered at all. So
Oh
like
yeah, because if it takes a long time, fuck them.
yeah, so like with the 5%, yeah, so like, and I think 5% was the least amount. you could get, or was it the most amount? No, I think 5% was the least amount. When I was reading through it, there was a lot of stuff about like take 1/3 off and then this percentage. So it got a little muddy for me, but from what I gather, so I'm not sure if 5% is the max you can get off or the minimum,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I just know it's basically a reduction so that way people are pleading guilty as opposed to not guilty and going through like
And
the whole full
having a
ash
trial and
trial.
all the
Yeah.
stuff.
So it's basically just to
Saving
entice
money
you.
and fucking,
Say
yeah.
say you're guilty, you'll get less time. That's basically what
We'll
it
move
is.
this along real quick. I got it.
Yeah. So with the 5% discount, the two of them received 20 years, but of course they appealed. And even though the court didn't really seem to accept their arguments, Kim and Lucas were still granted a lesser sentence and received 17 and a half years as opposed to the 20. This is also not for release. Like, it's not like they're out in 17 and a half years. No, it is literally only determining how long before they will have to go in front of the parole board.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they basically they could easily be in prison for the rest of their lives depending. So, but as of like now, they just go in front of the parole board. And as of today, they are both still serving their time. I am not sure about Lucas, but Mary has said that even still to this day, Kim does not have, nor has she ever really shown any remorse for what she has done.
That's cold blooded.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure how parole works in the UK, but if it's anything like the US, no remorse is not going to do you any favors when you're in front of the parole board. Like, in order to get parole, you have to show remorse. Like, you have to. You have to admit that you're sorry for your crimes. Alrighty. And with that, everyone, that was the unbelievable cold-blooded murder of 49-year-old Elizabeth Edwards and her 13-year-old daughter, Katie. Which means it is time for our shithead of the week. Adam, who do you have for us?
Dude named Elijah from Centerville, Indiana.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. So this dude's just like, chilling. And cops get a phone call about some guy standing in a doorway of an apartment complex waving to passerbys. Seems normal, right?
No. I don't trust it.
Well, the cops get there and they could see into the apartment clearly, and the guy's like, "What's up?" And they're like, "Would you mind putting clothes on? Like, get clothes on," because he's butt naked.
He's just hanging dong, waving at people.
Yeah.
How old is he?
He was in his 30s, I think. Well, he was literally just trying to, quote, spread some love because he had recently went through a spiritual awakening and he thought what he was doing was all good.
What's the Ashkawand? What is it? The Askawaya?
Ayahuasca?
Yeah, I was like, did he do some shit like that or like microdose and is like, oh, right?
It may or may not have had to have done with the meth he was found to be in possession of as well. But
see, that doesn't scream meth behavior to me. That screams like acid and love.
He just wanted to spread some joy and spread some love, so he did it by standing butt naked in the doorway of his apartment complex, waving to cars as they drove past.
You know what? Out of all the things the meth heads do, that is my favorite. I condone it. Like, not standing naked, like hanging dong, but the fact that he was like peaceful, because usually they're like,
they're nuts.
The demons, and they want to stab things.
Or they're like beating off in front of you and not stopping. This dude was just like, yo, I got dressed. That's cool. Like, no problem.
That is some weird meth that he's smoking.
That and the meth is what got him a felony. The hanging dong in the doorway waving at people was a misdemeanor. The meth will get you sent away.
It's probably because he wasn't near a school.
Yeah.
He would have ended up on the sex offender list if he was near a school.
Yeah,
he's lucky.
He would have gotten the shaft, that's for sure.
What type of meth was he smoking? I've never heard of anybody having that type of reaction.
I don't know.
Doesn't that sound like something from like a microdose situation?
Yeah, or ecstasy or something?
Yeah, where you're like really into like, you're like, what is that, euphoria and like, yeah, feeling everything?
Maybe that's the meth trail he went down, a euphoric spiritual one instead of a violent, I don't know, disgusting one.
I'd rather that. I'd rather
take that all day over the other ones.
I'd rather that. Oh my god.
So he's not really a piece of shit. He's just a dong hanger.
Just a dog hanger. I feel like that's more of a dumbass. Dumbass of the
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
Give it up. So, thank you for listening, everyone. And if you liked hanging out with us, let us know by rating and reviewing us and following us on Spotify, Apple, Instagram, and our YouTube. If there is a case you guys are interested in having us cover, just hit us up at uafrpod@gmail.com. Let us know, and we will maybe get into researching that and doing an episode, shout you out. And yeah, until then, we will see you next week, and don't be a douche.
Keep your pants on.
Yes, in public settings. In public
Let's start
settings.
there.
Let's just start in public settings. Have a good one.